I don't know, like, she's out there. You're the Florida version of Sex in the City, JD.
That's when I was smoking my cigar.
Don't be an asshole today.
Hello, is this Denise?
It is Denise. Is this Joe?
It is Joe indeed. How are you doing?
I'm really, really good. I just want to apologize. My co-host is running late, so she'll just pop in when she gets here and have to sink or swim.
That is absolutely fine. I'm in your, I'm sure, capable hands. Or culpable hands. Could be either.
Perfect. I'm going to try not to keep you. I know I got you up past your bedtime. I apologize.
No, it's not. I've got a couple of minutes till I'm due to bed. Yeah.
Excellent. Okay.
No, look, seriously, I'm in your hands. I'm just pleased to speak to you.
Well, I'm really pleased to have you. I hope that you don't mind that I pretty much stalked you on Twitter.
No. Look, that's what it's for, isn't it? Really?
Yeah. Well, the thing of it was it kept catching my eye, and finally I'm like, I got to dive in here. I got to find out what this is all about. So I think it was all the things you have coming up. Like there's an awards thing coming up. You got the self-love thing coming up. So I was just like, this is rocking and rolling. Like I gotta get the word out about this, but I don't want to misspeak. So I'm gonna let you talk a little bit about what Queer Britain is all about.
Okay, well, just to be clear, is this us having started?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We jump right in.
I wasn't sure if this was not our pre-chat kind of like icebreaker.
We're so informal.
No, I like that. Dive right in. No, that's very cool. Well, look, we're a charity that set up in about 2018, at the end of 2018, because I think there's just a lot of people got sick of the idea that there isn't a national LGBTQ plus museum, bricks and mortar museum, and I for one, kind of, I thought it was time that really we just pushed hard to make sure that missing branch on the family tree of the nation, kind of globally as well, really is missing. We want to fill that in.
That's amazing. I think that's an incredible idea. And you pretty
much.
It's
a very simple idea. It's not an incredible idea. It's an obvious idea that requires somebody to just put their shoulder to it, really.
Right. And you operate like donations, fundraisers.
Yeah. So we're very grateful actually, because we've taken, this is the sort of like the boring nuts and bolts stuff, but
this is interesting to me.
we came to the conclusion very early on that if we were going to have an institution that was that the communities and the country deserved to have, that it had to be of the sort of scale and import that is deserved, really, of the subject matter.
Of course.
And that requires taking a very focused business-like approach. And so we've spent this first couple of years, building the governance, making sure that we've built the donor communities, making sure we've engaged with communities as well as corporates who can put some money, which, if we're going to do anything of this scale, then that's where the money lies these days. But we've been very, very lucky that we've had a small group of very committed donors who have really said, have backed the idea rather than the reality. And because of that, we're now moving from it being an idea into it being a reality.
Oh,
so we're kind of fairly close to getting our first physical space.
Oh, great.
And I can't talk more about that other than please watch this space, because it's going to be next year is going to be very exciting.
That's just the kind of teaser everybody needs,
Yeah, did you see it?
That it's happening, to know that it's happening is one of the things that make people get a little bit more invested.
Exactly. And and then also we've got things like the the art prize that I'm very excited that we've got that underway at the
Is
moment.
this the Madam F awards?
The Madam F Award, where working with actually Madam F is a wine brand that is one of our sponsors.
Okay.
And they've sponsored this award, and we're working with them on that. And it's really taking that idea that for this particular piece of subject matter, for the LGBTQ, if we're going to make an LGBTQ plus museum that means anything, then our audience are also the subjects.
Sure.
And so we want to make sure that the people who would come to visit us are also the people who are reflected on the walls.
Right.
And for us, this art award, it's a really good way of turning to our communities and saying, we know that queer creativity is an enormously important thing, and is something that is has actually made a huge impact on the world in ways that I think probably aren't quite understood. You know, we've hit we've made a bigger impact than the size of our community would really justify normally.
I would agree with that, especially when you look back in history, you know, right? Like Oscar Wilde.
Well, actually, I know I'm going to come on to that. I'm going to come on to Oscar.
Okay. Wow.
I know. Did you see that? So that's like it's the queer wires kind of flying through the air.
It's in the air. But no, yeah, going back in history all the way up to present time, it's you know, we do make an impact. I mean, we've got the most creative artists, you know, ever, and a lot of times it's so hard for them to get their projects out there, you know, and that's part of what we do. We want to shine a light on those people and their projects.
And that's wonderful. Why, you know, people like yourself kind of picking up this kind of mantle and making sure that you're championing these sort of subjects that need to be championed and that should be championed, and that not only that, but they're just fascinating.
It is, and I
that's
always
the
find,
bottom line, isn't it?
I always have a ton of questions, and I love like walking away with more knowledge than I went into the situation with. So,
well, exactly, yeah. Exactly. I mean, and when we think as well about, you know, the kind of, it's very easy as well to just focus on art. And
oh yeah, that's such a small part of it. Yeah.
You look at, like, you know, you look at your Ada Lovelace. You look at your you know, pioneering the sort of computer fields, and obviously Turing is a good one to talk about.
Oh, Turing, yeah.
How between Ada and Turing, you know, they changed the course of the world.
History, right? Exactly.
Unbelievable, and yet, you know, we're not recognised in their fullness.
Yeah.
I mean, complicated because obviously Alan Turing was working on very secretive work, so it's difficult to champion somebody who's working on secretive work. But at the same time,
then, but now, you know, now all the credit in the world.
And actually, I must throw in, just while we're here talking, while we've mentioned the Art Award, I mean, I'd be very, very keen. You know, we want to hear from people who want to put something on paper, painting, drawing, collage, anything that can be scanned, can be submitted. And we want people to really explore, what does queer creativity mean to them? And it's a hugely wide question. Could be answered in any number of ways.
So broad, yeah, it's so broad. That's fun though, because I mean, look at the, you know, things that are like kind of on trend, on point, you know, queer comics, you know, that's something that, like, if even 10 or 12 years ago, like, it wouldn't have caught my eye, but the artists involved in making, you know, queer comic books and characters and everything now, it's phenomenal. You can't turn away. It's fantastic. But, you know, going backwards, everybody has, you know, some kind of talent, a rough sketch, a doodle. It does, you know, so I love that this is just kind of open. And are you getting a ton of submissions?
We're getting we've started, we're about week and a half, 2 weeks into the opening.
Oh, you got a little ways to go still.
And we close on November the 12th.
Okay. Okay.
And so we're expecting that there'll be kind of more of an uptick now. So we've got a handful of entries at this point.
Fantastic.
But they are speeding up as they come in, which actually is exactly what we expected.
And what goes along with it, aside from bragging rights that they won the medal?
Well,
like, is it going to be displayed or?
Yeah, there are a whole raft of things. So there's a cash prize. So there are 3 cash prizes,
good.
Which was like, and what we wanted to do was create an award that was going to be giving something back and also helping the charity establish itself, and so that the prize will be there to help the artists, and also the art will then help the charity.
Right.
And so what we're doing is 3 cash prizes. £1,500 for the top prize, £1,000 for the second prize, and £500 as the third prize.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not, no small potatoes.
Right.
Which is a phrase I think I may have just made up.
I like it.
I'm going to use that from now on. No small potatoes for us.
I really would have went with beans, but go ahead.
You say beans, I say potatoes.
I'm learning over here. I'm learning. Beans or nothing.
Then the other thing that we will be working to exhibit the entries. We're working towards having some kind of award ceremony. We don't really know what that's going to look like yet, but we're working towards that. Which
exposure, cash. Okay, I'm liking it.
And then what we're going to be doing is we're going to be, and this is the thing that I'm particularly excited about, is that we'll be turning some of the winning entrants into merchandise that we'll be selling through the shop.
Great.
To support the museum. So people's entries will be turned into like mugs and tote bags and
literal
t-shirts.
Merchandise. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, and then when we open our physical location, that will be centerpiece for the retail.
Fantastic!
And that will help
really
us make this whole thing happen.
Yeah,
it's an exciting opportunity to both be rewarded, express yourself, and support the establishment of this national.
That's fantastic, because I mean, think of the people this touches, aside from true artists, that get out the paintbrush and whatever, but like photographers and like I said, like pop culture, people that, I mean, that's just it. I think it's going to be who's judging this?
Well, you took the words right out of my mouth. I mean, there's a really, really interesting, diverse and talented set of judges. So we have one of Britain's sort of most established queer cartoonists, a woman called Kate Charlesworth, and she did the cartoons in the Pink paper, which was a national tabloid newspaper for gay people, which was in all through the sort of 90s, 80s, 90s, 2000s. Really chronicled LGBTQ plus life in the UK. We have Robert Taylor, wonderful photographer, who is has been photographing queer communities for decades. We have the chief creative officer for one of our closest partner companies, which is the advertising agency M&C Saatchi. So one of the top creatives in the country is part of this. Yeah, that. We have, I don't want to miss anybody out. We have our design director, Mark King, part of it. We have wonderful, Britain's first out trans Muslim drag queen.
That's a box ticker.
She is fabulous. She is fabulous. And one of the things I really love about having her as one of our judges is that she is also visually impaired. Apart from being lovely, she's also visually impaired. And talking to her, I mean, I'm sure Asifa won't mind me talking about this because it's something we've talked about quite a lot and we've talked about publicly. But in terms of the message of inclusion, we have a visual competition being judged by somebody who is visually impaired, and it takes a conversation to say, what do we need to do to make sure that this works for you?
Yeah.
But this is a really important message because we're here for everyone. And actually, sorry, this is by a sort of swerve on the topic. But when I say we're here for everyone, I really do mean that in the broadest sense. And the image I always come back to, and have been coming back to for a few years, is a young woman just come out to her mother, and we want to create a place that's somewhere that they can both go to together, and they can both come away with their sort of heads explode about the possibilities of life, and that the mother can feel just as much a part of this extended community and extended family as the daughter feels alive with possibilities of life and what can be.
How important is that? I mean, I think that's, first of all, that's incredible, because I do think that every parent's first thought is that their child's not going to feel safe.
Yeah.
And I shouldn't even say parent. I was married before I came out, and my ex-husband, that was his first thought. He woke up having nightmares and saying, I had a dream someone was chasing you with a bat. Like I things like that, and I would think to myself, like, I know my parents feel this. My mother just, I don't think she could say it. I think her biggest fear was that everything was going to be so much harder. And that's one of those things, that you create a space that educates them and gives them some peace of mind.
And welcomes them.
Them. Right. Like that's it. Yeah, the things that they'll come away with, it kind of gives them the tools to be a better parent in this situation. So that's awesome.
It's funny because you touch on something I think really important, that part of the problem over the years has been fear and stigma, and that's been something that has that's really what the root of the problems is, that fear of difference and the stigma that kind of comes with that.
Right.
And I think actually to create something that exists, that is a thing, but it's only one thread in the story. And actually what we've really, the rest of that tapestry, it speaks of it speaks of outrageous creativity. It speaks of community development. It speaks of resilience. It speaks of connection. It speaks of being able to look at the world through a different eye, and imagine things in a better way, in a different way.
A whole different.
And those are all the stories that we want to tell. All those stories, and how have people lived?
Yeah,
that's such a simple but fascinating question.
I think, first of all, I think it's such a huge undertaking. It's to your credit that you're the one that's shouldering it, like you said, like.
Oh, daft enough.
Like when I think, in the States, we had Stonewall Library, and I've just been in contact with, who knew, a lesbian herstory archive museum in upstate New York, and asked us for some things from when we first started creating podcasts back in 2006, before people knew what it was and they were afraid of it. Like, asked us, like,
there's some quick creativity for you.
Yeah, right. So like there's these places that I didn't know existed, that are over there. It's who knew, I mean, there's community centers in every major city, and over here, you're right. Like we do need something over here where we can compile this stuff, whether it's, from way back or a month ago, exactly. It's just, I can't even imagine. I feel like you'll outgrow your space so fast.
Yeah, well, one of the things that in the long-term space, in the forever home space, as we call it,
right.
we're adopting a model where about half of the space should be given over to, about half of the gallery space, that is, because obviously there'll also be lecture space, the cafe, all the traditional sort of museum stuff.
Yeah, right.
But within it, we want to have about half the space be relatively permanent display, but evolving, but relatively permanent. And the other half of that space given over to different things all the time, because there's so many different communities and stories that we can offer the space to be represented. And so some of that space will be available for community co-curation, so that we can say, right, Denise, you have access to this set of stories that you want to tell. Here's the space. How are you going to do that? How can we support you in telling that story?
Love it.
And then have changing, evolving, changing museum exhibitions. And
there's
I think
so many different ways, right? I mean,
we don't want to be static, because the thing is about queer is that queer is never static. It's never one thing.
It's always one step ahead. You think about like a typical installation, and people just walk around going, ooh, no, but nowadays things are digital. Things are done with electronics, they're done with lights, they're done, like the medium is ever changing. So yeah, I that's fantastic.
And actually, for an exhibition that we're planning at the moment, there is a virtual reality element of that as well. So and I love that idea that you can now kind of smear the space between physical and digital.
Yeah,
and it can become a sort of seamless thing. That
it's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy.
Well,
tell me a little bit about the self-love.
Yeah, that's something that's really been being promoted by our social media person. So I actually don't really know very much about that, I'm afraid.
It's a hot topic right now, I'll tell you that.
so you will excuse me if I swerve that question at this moment.
No, that's totally fine. I think the awards is what really caught my eye. Because I was like, oh, I want to get my box of crayons and start, now that I know there's a cash prize.
Do it.
But I feel like when I first came over here, I was hosting at an annual lesbian festival called L-Fest, and I was so many musicians and so much creativity and workshops and things I never, I just didn't even know that there was a call for those kinds of things, like drumming circles and basket weaving and all that kind of, but it was, I tell you which tent had the most was the massages, the manis, and the petties. So there's something to be said about the self-love aspect of art.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is the thing, is that you scratch the surface, and we all want a bit of a pamper, don't we?
Yeah, it's it does keep us sane, I think, especially in these times. Like how bad has the pandemic, has that set you back, or has it just made you have to adjust on your own?
We've adjusted, and it's been like any organization, there's been, hard to say there's a plus side to it, but we found some things have brought advantages, some things have made it more difficult. It obviously, I think just before the lockdown in February 28th, we had our first publicly ticketed event, which we did with the Bishopsgate Institute. And we cleared nearly 300 tickets.
Oh, fantastic!
We had wonderful actor, writer, producer, and director Mark Gatiss reading from some diaries from a guy who'd lived in London diaries went from 1948 to 2009 when this guy was run down by a van, but basically told in very sort of like high literary, Alan Bennett sort of style, about what his day-to-day life as a civil servant who was also living in the kind of the queer underground
Right.
was,
Right.
and
Right.
it was just absolutely fascinating. But we had this wonderful sold out event, and then 3 weeks later we went into lockdown. We then had to swerve onto doing digital events.
Right.
And actually, we found that the one thing that was really positive was that suddenly we're doing events that are reaching 500 people, 600 people.
Yeah.
And that size audience we would have had to have worked up to. And so to have that kind of interest, which also just really showed you the hunger.
Right.
Kind of
right. Now, yeah, it's there. It's definitely there.
There's no question it's there.
Yeah. And, one thing I've learned from lockdown is that, if I can do an event virtually, that's how I'm going to do it.
Well, there isn't, you'll probably get this, but I quite like the fact that, and I love an event. Don't get me wrong, I love an event.
Right.
Particularly our own events. But, it does require that kind of hanging around, talking, commuting afterwards, and then the highs and the lows.
Right.
But I have quite enjoyed the fact that you go, thank you all for coming, and then you close the lid, and then I go, okay, what do you want for dinner? I'll get dinner on now. Right?
That's exactly.
How's it been for you? How has it been for you?
I personally, it hasn't bothered me in the faintest. Like I'm a homebody to begin with, but to be able to do these shows, I feel like it's a heck of a lot easier to get guests because they're not on the road. They're not doing shows or events, and it's like, don't tell me you're busy. I'm taking no for an answer. So yeah, that's been extremely helpful. But also, it's challenged me to do some things that I wouldn't normally do, like editing and doing that all on my own to get this off the ground. And my co-host, who hopefully will pop in even just to say hello towards the end, she is a musician in South Florida, so we knew each other from when I was living there, and she is I think it's like a musician's nature to be a little bit of a control freak, so she handles all our video editing, and she is super good, super patient. She'll do it over and over and over and over until it's like just the way we wanted it. And it's so between me handling like audio and setting up guests and doing a little bit of research and filling her in, and her handling like the video and the editing and all that kind of stuff, we've really, like, over the past year, just educated ourselves, challenged ourselves, and like we're at a different level than what we thought we were going to start off at. So we've only been doing this now 15 months, and we're really growing. Like our base is growing. Our our I call it the guest grab bag, is getting bigger and bigger, and that's
so what drove you to do this?
I actually have been doing this since 2006 when I was still in Florida. I was doing a show, but at this, we weren't as sophisticated because back then we were just broadcasting on the internet.
It was wax cylinders, wasn't it? It was wax cylinders.
It felt like a little mouse, running. But no, actually, the thing of it was like everything was so gigantic. Like I had like this massive console and these big mics that you see in like radio studios, and producers sitting over in the corner with a
very glamorous
Sam broadcaster, on the laptop, like pushing us out into the world. And we were doing it live. So if you burped, if you fell off your chair, if whatever, it was happening, it was going to go on.
About the end of the safety net.
Yeah. And it was, like I said, the whole reason for doing what we were doing even back then was to give LGBTQ people a platform to share their projects, whether it was a book, a web series, a comedy special, whatever they were doing. We just wanted them to come on and talk about it and tell people how to see it, find it, buy it, and give them that exposure. And in the beginning it was hard to get people because it was a call-in line, so people, do you have long distance? Okay. So we were doing that, but then it got to where we could record it and edit it a little bit and piece it together. And we were filling, Joe, no lie, we were filling 2 hours a week. We had a 2-hour show. And at the height of, we were having guests like Taylor Dane and Jane Lynch and
Oh wow, amazing.
yeah, the people from the L Word, and it got it just
Can I just say Jane Lynch?
exactly.
I think you're bringing out,
Yeah.
you're making me even gayer than I normally am.
Right? And we would just like, thank God people couldn't see us because we were just like, so we
But you know
we
what?
had
There is nothing more cool than not giving a shit about whether you're cool or not.
see, I mean, thank God people couldn't see us like really fangirling out after every phone call. And then we went out to LA for a premiere of a lesbian film that was actually going to have a cinematic theatrical premiere. So we were going to that, and we went to that Sunset Strip, Sunset Boulevard and all that. And afterwards there was an after party, and I was out in the courtyard of this bar, and I was getting out a cigarette, and I was like, oh my God, I don't have a lighter. Tap on the shoulder, Jane Lynch. Light.
I was like, I don't even smoke, but yes, I will.
It was just like incredible. I was like, oh my God, it's Jane Lynch, because she's like 9 feet tall. But yeah, like it just afforded us.
Is she tall? She's tall. I took a picture of her. In my head, she's not.
She's extremely tall. Yeah, I would say she's at least 5.
There you go. I've learned something today.
But yeah, we loved doing what we were doing. And and even when I moved here, we really tried so hard to make it work. But again, at the time, this is like going back 10 years ago, we were trying with Skype, we were trying with the phones. Our timing was off.
Hopeless.
Yeah,
Hopeless.
everything was like, there was a delay. It wasn't, because we were like really fast paced and energetic, and it just got to be really, really hard. And then my co-host landed a dream job in the LGBTQ community, that Centerlink, that links all the LGBT centers across the United States.
Yes.
So yeah, so she's working for them, and her time just went like she had nothing. And then my musician friend contacted me at the beginning of lockdown and said, oh my God, I'm so bored, I can't play anywhere, do you want to do a podcast together? And I was like, let's do it, got nothing but time.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
just
wonderful.
grows. But I think
sorry,
anybody that that works hard at whatever their passion is, whether they're an artist or whatever, a model, or what, it doesn't matter, whatever it is, we want to shine a spotlight on that. We love small businesses, we love like charities, we love shining a spotlight on people that are digging in. Like that's the whole goal, and to try and get the word out to everybody to at least check it out. Might not be your bag, but check it out.
I love that phrase, the people who are digging in, and I think that's and cheers, by the way.
Cheers to you, my friend.
I think it's late enough, it was late enough in the day to.
That's exactly how this works, man. Exactly how this works. But listen, I think what you're doing is incredible. I think the idea behind it is amazing, and I'm so thrilled that you're seeing the support. And we want to just help grow that, grow that support. I think it's going to be incredible. You can't tell us where the space might be?
No, not right now. I can't. No, you're gonna have to watch this. You're gonna have to watch the space. And here is the cheeky, seamless segue into you're gonna have to sign up for our newsletter at queerbritain.org.uk. I think the link at the top. I can't remember the exact language on it. I think it says something like "join us" or "hear more" or something.
Excellent.
Go and have a look at our website, sign up for our newsletter. But Denise, you could also drop me an email personally, and we can continue chatting. And
excellent.
You can have the inside gem.
Got an inside track. I'm super excited about that. Well, I don't want to keep you up later, but I really enjoyed this conversation.
Oh, me
I'm
too.
so
Me too. Me
glad
too.
we got to hook up via Twitter, and this is going up on Sunday, so we'll share and
Great.
fire away. And
You let me know, and if you send us a link, we'll make sure that we've reshared that as well. So
fantastic! I am so looking forward to it. I wish you all the best.
And if you were able to include a link to the award, queerbritain.org.uk/Art Award 2021, that would be even more amazing.
Oh, perfect! Excellent. You got it, sir. It's been a pleasure.
Real pleasure. Thank you so much. You take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Oh my God. Okay. Can you see me?
What happened? Are you on your cell phone?
And I'm having email problems this week. And I everything fixed, but I might have to fix something on the iPad now. So I'm on the phone.
Grief. Oh, you look so teeny. So you just missed Joe Galiano from queerbritain.co.uk.
Yes.
He's a super cool dude, man. It's amazing what they are going to achieve.
I read a little bit about what he was doing, and I saw that I went to the website, and I wanted to ask him about the event they did for It's a Sin. He did an event with the writer from that.
Yes. Yep.
I love that show.
Wasn't that great? Yeah, that was amazing.
Wish they were going to do another season, but the writer just decided he just wanted to do one season, and that was it. Like it was
right. He was literally writing about a period of his life. You know?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And that was really big over here too. I'm glad you guys got it. Yeah, I love what Joe's doing, and I love that that he's taken it on. I mean, it's such a huge commitment and responsibility, but the vision that they have for the actual space is incredible. Like I can't wait. I'm so sorry you missed them, but I can't wait for you to edit it so you can so you can hear what we talked about, see what we talked about. It's incredible. I want everybody to go to queerbritain.co.uk and have a look. Well, you know what? Next week we've got Jesse Campo.
Yes.
That's next week. International recording star, as you reminded me.
Her video for a song called Lágrimas Negros, and it's an old classic Cuban song that she remade, and it's in a Netflix movie for Latin Netflix. Wow. And so that video won the best video in the Istanbul Film Festival, and she's working on a new video for the song that I wrote that she rewrote the lyrics to. So that together in New Orleans. I think I have a video of that when we went to the music conference, and I played guitar, I played the music, and she sang her new words or new lyrics.
Oh, wow.
Spanish.
That's cool. That's great. And
yeah,
she's joining us next week. We got some good people lined up.
We do. We really do. I'm looking forward to this month. And
we're gonna have we're gonna have Claire Lydon come on and do a little bit of a farewell, because she is wrapping up her this is it, year-end lesbian book club. But we've had a good run, and I can't wait to actually talk to her. We've been working together, Claire and I, for, I think she's done like 80 episodes, if not more.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And I think it's been 3-4 years now. So that's cool. Well, all right, my friend, I will let you go finish that drink and wash off the day.
I am going to have, I'm going to put an extra shot of floater in this and figure out email isn't working on my iPad for next week. So I
hate having, we just had we were right in the middle of the Great British Bake Off.
Oh,
that, you know, like people live and die by that show over here, as you know.
Yes.
So right in the middle of it, and all of a sudden the TV says buffering issue with your Ethernet cable. We're like, the Ethernet cable?
And-
That's the one you never have an issue with.
Right. It's something, it's never really that, but they just say it.
Yeah.
Um,
So we were like,
God.
oh my God. I was like, we just go into IT mode. Like, what's the first thing they tell you? Have you turned it on, turn it back off again? Turn it
Right.
on, turn it off again?
That's
That's what it was. So we were able to finish watching it, because you don't want to miss, you don't want to go longer than a day. Like, it airs on Tuesday here, and we record it. We usually watch it on Wednesdays, because if you wait until Thursday, there's all kinds of shit online, and you know, and you say, I don't want to look at it. You know, you walk into Hazel, she goes, "Did you see what happened?" No. Not yet.
I heard, but Hallmark Channel has a Bake Off for Christmas also, in case you want to watch.
I do not. Thank you, though.
They have a Christmas Bake Off, just in case you want to know about that.
Nope. We have our own Christmas Bake Off here. We have the, which is great, because, you know, I think it ends around, like, they're going into the quarterfinals, then they'll have the semis, and then they'll have the, you know, the final. So you're looking at like the end of November, beginning of December. And then all of a sudden you're at a loss. You're just like, oh my God, it's over. What are we going to watch now? But then they come back with a Christmas special. So they hit you like right in the feels for Christmas.
Right.
They do the stand up for cancer specials throughout the year. So you don't forget about them. But it's whatever, like the nation has just embraced it so much so that on Fridays there's a show called Extra Slice.
Yeah.
That
Sounds like
whoever got like booted gets to come on Extra Slice, and then they kind of show some behind the scenes things that they leave out in editing and stuff like that, and they have like guests on, and people bring the audience, people bring their own bakes from home, and then they show pictures that people submit of their cakes.
I love that. I like the name Extra Slice.
Extra Great British Bake Off Extra Slice. So not enough that we have the actual Great British Bake Off on Tuesdays, but we also have an Extra Slice on Friday. There's a great gay comedian that hosts it along with Joe Brand, and his name is Tom Allen. If you ever get a chance to look him up online, he's so damn funny and quick. Oh my God, he's everywhere right now. He's on all the panel shows and doing stand up and stuff like that, and he hosts the Bake Off professionals, the ones that like patissiers that do the high end bakes. Him and this other guy host it, but he's so witty and he's so quick and he's so friggin' gay. It's fantastic. So we've slotted one of our own. We've slotted one of our own right into the nation's favorite show.
Very nice. Yes.
Yeah. Excellent. All right. I will let you go. Have another shot. Wash the day off, and good luck with your email.
Thank you very much. That's exactly what I'm going to do. I'll let you know about the email.
All right. Good night.
Bye.
He drank way too much whiskey.
Like, never stop chasing your dreams.